my name is Kelly and I am the Learning and Participation Manager at Dulwich Picture Gallery. Today I'm joined by Miles, who you'll hear from in a moment, our Learning Coordinator, and also one of our young volunteers has recorded a little video for you all as well. So yeah, we are based in South East London. We've been a gallery for over 200 years and have a collection of old master paintings and a changing programme of modern and contemporary art exhibitions. So today I'm going to talk to you about our VIP programme, and we did start with the acronym first. It stands for our Volunteer Interpretation Programme for Young People at the Gallery. We're going to talk about how the programme works and then share some example projects, but then also talk about it from an organisational point of view, how we've tried to embed young people in the organisation and some of the challenges and learning that we've learned from that. But I want to start by placing the role of young people within the work of the gallery. So as an organisation, our mission statement is that we want to help people to find themselves in art. And within our engagement strand, we do this by working closely with our audiences, so young people, because we want to empower them to connect, create and make sense of their world through meaningful interactions with our art, collection, grounds and heritage. And we deliver this through 3 strands: relevance, how do we make everything we do relevant to people, employability, skills, lifelong learning, and also health and wellbeing. And for us, our local area is Southwark, Lambeth and Lewisham. So a lot of the work we do is about working in partnership with our other stakeholders from the community. So who are the VIPs and what do they do? So a young interpretation volunteer is a young person who gains experience in how we interpret our collection exhibition, whilst at the same time helping us to create new stories that resonate with them and other young people. They work with the gallery to test and create different methods of interpretation for and with young people. So it launched around 6 years ago, and we did an initial pilot project where we worked with and commissioned young people to answer the question, what does wellbeing look like for young people in the gallery? And the learning from this project fed into the design of the programme. Importantly, the programme sits alongside and feeds into our Unlocking Paintings initiative. This is led organisationally by programme engagement and collections, with an aim to investigate, create and develop new ways to share and explore stories behind our collection. This has been an important step in its development. By being linked from the start to an organisational priority, it's helped with buy-in and sustainability and for a way for the youth voice to be fed back. So what do our volunteers do? So they take part in 2 projects a year, one focused on creating interpretive output, which might be a text label, audio guide recording, a resource, and one focused on developing an event or an activity, so workshop, tours, pop-up workshops and events. So for each project, the young people are given a brief that the young people work on, and they're tasked with ensuring that the project outcome also supports the wellbeing of young people, aligning with at least one of the 5 ways to wellbeing. Some projects have a really tangible, have a really visible wellbeing output, whereas others have something that's a bit more tangible. So everything that's been created, whether it's a text label, a tour, is shared at the end of a proper project pop-up event, which usually takes place on a Saturday afternoon when the gallery is open. It's shared with the visitors, who also get feedback from them about what the young people have been created. And we also invite young people from our local schools, our local youth groups to come and take part in the day as well. These events are also where any young people interested in joining the programme can come, meet existing young volunteers and chat to find out more about the programme. Where possible, we'll also look for opportunities for the young people to share at different public programming events. So for example, this summer when we did our tour project, they also popped up at our family festival, but this is flexible and in response to what gets created. The structure of each project remains the same, and this has been an important facet in keeping it running for over 6 years. The young people respond to either an area of the collection or exhibition. They always work with a different guest artist or practitioner for the season, but then a relevant member of the DPG team will meet them and feedback at least twice during the project. For example, if they're curating a text label, they'll meet with a curator who'll do a tour. The curator will then work with them on how to write a text label, a developer tour, and then we'll feed back on that label. And it's different teams that feed in every different project. Meetings are monthly on a Wednesday evening and are based between activities in an art studio, but really importantly is they get to go into the gallery after hours as well, which is always seen as a real highlight. We also used to go off-site and visit other youth groups pre-pandemic, but we've had to pause that for now. So what's really important about this is that at the end of each project, the young people have a reflection and celebration event, and they discuss the learnings about what they've tested and what they've piloted, and then have a conversation with us about what they would like to do next. Usually the focus, either on an artist, an exhibition, a room or an audience, will be decided by ourselves just because the gallery is working that far in ahead. But the young people always have an active voice on deciding the content of what they're going to deliver. Sometimes, especially if we have a newer cohort of volunteers, we'll provide options and there'll be like a vote. But with all the projects, young people have an active voice on developing, creating, producing, and feeding back on the content that they create. I won't go into this slide too much detail, but I just wanted to share a few things around who we work with. So as I said, we work in Southwark, Lambeth and Lewisham, and we have 70% of our young people from those areas. We reach around 60 to 80 young people per event, pop-up event that we do. And I just wanted to share the reasons we collect why young people want to join. A lot of it is around meeting new people, obviously studying art or something to do with careers, learning about how a gallery works. But one thing that's been really important for this project, really working with our schools team, is that we often get a lot of young people who are studying creative arts at school, but don't engage with museums or art galleries outside of school. So we have a really strong referral partner pathway in for that from our schools. I'm now going to pass over to Miles, who's going to talk about one of the projects, and then you'll pass back to me, and then we'll eventually hear from a young person.
Thanks, Kelly. Hi, everyone. So one of the recent projects that we completed with the young VIPs was the development of the Youth Perspectives tours, which Kelly mentioned briefly earlier. This was a project that we worked on during the spring-summer 2022 season, so just earlier this year. And this project was selected kind of directly by the group after feeding back to us that one of the things that they wanted to get out of this program was more public speaking experience and presentation experience, and more experience interacting with visitors at the gallery. So as Kelly mentioned, we came up with 3 or 4 different ways that they could accomplish this. And the idea of putting together their own tour of the building was definitely the thing that they resonated with the most. So that's what we went with. In developing their tour, they did a lot of research of our collection, and they each selected paintings which they wanted to learn more about, or that they identified with, or just paintings that they enjoyed. We had our curator and our assistant curator each visit the group to provide extra information about those paintings that they chose, to give them some behind the scenes stories about those paintings and some fun facts that they could include in their tour script. We ran a pilot sort of practice version of this tour at a summer family festival where they could practice delivering the tour, which was a really great experience for them and really great to expose kind of the rest of the gallery team to what the young people were working on. The tour was then delivered to the public in September, and we had a mix of invited guests who had kind of booked on specifically to visit the gallery that day for that tour, as well as drop-in visitors who just sort of joined us on the day. And we had well over 50 people take part in those tours on the day, which was a huge number for us. Being such a small gallery, we were thrilled to have 50 people take part in the tour. The feedback was overwhelmingly positive as well. The image that you can see on the screen now is a picture from one of those tours being led by Anna, one of our volunteers, in the white top. Many of the older visitors on the day said how nice it was to see young people speaking passionately about our collection. And many of the younger visitors on the day said how amazing it was to see other people kind of their age speaking about the collection as well, and that they'd be so much more likely to join a tour like this at another museum if it was being led by someone who kind of looked like them or sounded like them. So that was really great. And we've got a few quotes on the screen as well from some of our visitors who filled out comment cards on the day. So yeah, a really great experience. I'll hand back to Kelly and she can speak about one other recent project.
Thank you, Miles. We also wanted to share a little bit about what we did in lockdown. So we were closed for a couple of months, the programme stopped, but we were able to bring back the VIP meetings virtually. And we felt that it was important to start by asking the young people about what they wanted to explore, and they could do this in response to anything in the collection. And unsurprisingly, they wanted to explore their experiences of lockdown. So as a group, they chose 2 paintings they felt resonated with their experiences and wrote interpretation for each piece of artwork. So this first one, St. Jerome and Adona, it's my favourite story that I've ever told about the VIPs. So they knew nothing about this painting, but what it reminded them of was a Zoom call, because you can see a hand coming in, you can see things that are potentially happening off site, you can see like a blurry lion, but you're not entirely sure. A month later, they met the curator and found out that this is actually part of a huge painting that was cut up 150 years ago. So there's extracts of this painting in Canada and Scotland. So it kind of is a bit like a Zoom call. And it just showed how something from 200 years ago is resonating with them at the moment. And they wrote some interpretation around that and how they felt. The next piece of artwork, Jacob's Dream, again, this reminded them of just that kind of a lot of sleeping, a lot of relaxation, but you can also see the angel here, and there's a big conversations around the angel of death and what that could mean. Both those labels sit alongside the curator's label in the gallery, and that's something as an example of something that's been up for over a year. So some of our outputs we can keep a bit longer. So now I'm going to pass back over to Miles, who's going to screen share, and we're going to hear from one of our young volunteers, Jemima, who'll tell you about their experiences.
Hi, my name is Jemima, and I joined the Youth Volunteer Interpretation Programme at the Dulwich Picture Gallery in September 2021. I joined the programme because at the time I was growing an interest in history of art as a potential degree, and I was really interested in joining a youth programme where I was able to immerse myself in the gallery and be able to learn about art more and like the history of art. And I thought that this program seemed perfect for me. It also contributed to my Gold DUV volunteering, which was really beneficial. And even after I completed that, I loved the program so much that I stayed on. And yeah, it's just been a really great experience. Okay, so the first project I did with the program was a workshop called A Work in Progress, which was part of the Frankenfurter Radical Beauty exhibition that was hosted at the gallery in the summer of 2021. And this workshop was really lovely to run, as we were able to inspire people and encourage them to express their opinions on the exhibition that they'd just been through. And it was just really nice to be able to organize something and have control over a workshop and like help people, I guess, and just inspire people to express themselves and gain inspiration from the artist. So I think it's really important for galleries and museums to listen to young people, because we're the future generations, and I think our opinions will be very different, not different, but just will be more inspiring potentially and fresh to the galleries and museums, as you know, we're going to be the ones like running these companies and stuff. So I think our opinions should be more valuable, and I think we have a lot to say because we're growing up in a very different time where things are broadcasted on the internet and everything's very digitized and visual. So I guess we've got a different perspective on how things should be or how things shouldn't be, and more possibly, I'm not sure the word is. Oh, I don't know what, like progressive. Our opinions may be more progressive than like older generations. Yeah, I think my favorite part of being part of the program and like the skills I've gained would definitely be working with like people my age who have similar interests to me. And it may not be like totally similar, like we might have different aspects of what we like in artwork, but just like working with people and being able to engage in the gallery and like engage in my community and just like give something back, that also like helps me in the future and stuff. I think it's just really beneficial, and yeah, it's just a really positive experience, and I've really enjoyed it.
So that was Jemima, one of our youth volunteers here at the gallery. Really nice to hear some of her perspectives on one of the projects that she's worked on. She wasn't able to join us live today, so she recorded that video very kindly for us in advance. So she was responding to questions that Kelly and I had for her. So it was a bit cut up there, but we just wanted to very briefly mention a little bit about the wider impact of the program generally as well. So at the start and end of each project, we ask the VIPs to complete an evaluation form, which they can do anonymously. And this form asks them to rate themselves on a scale of 1 to 8 in 24 different areas, including teamwork and communication, among other things. After the most recent project season, so the Youth Perspectives tours, we found that the VIPs generally rated themselves higher at the end of the project than the beginning in a number of different areas, including I am successful in social situations, open to new ideas, communicate well with people, I'm a good leader. So that was all really positive. And again, we've put a few quotes there on the screen from staff and people involved in the project to sort of show the impact of the project.
Thanks. And then just organisationally, I think things that we've noticed is by inviting different members of staff in for each project, it means that everyone across the gallery knows who the VIPs are. Also, as an organisation, other teams have become more confident engaging commissioning work with young people. So we've got a project now called Together Through Art, which is around supporting young adults aged 18 to 25 who've accessed CAMS, and we do a training and development programme, and there's more confidence around that through the work that we've learned through the VIPs. We also, it really helps with people understanding, building awareness outside of programming, difference between youth voice, co-creation versus collaboration, because we can use the VIP projects as examples. Feedback from visitors has really been that having real things that are created that are visible can be really important. And then community-wise, pre-pandemic, we were starting to work collaboratively with other youth organisations, allowing them to use the gallery as a space for takeovers as well. And that's kind of dialed down as we've had the last couple of years, but it's hoping something we can build back up to. So our final kind of 2 slides are just kind of talk a little bit about the challenges we've had. The project Youth Voice, it is quite a structured programme, and that's to kind of make it sustainable and within the capacity of the team. So the young people don't always have a direct say on the theme of the project, and some of the outputs might be less visible or long term. For example, the tours beyond the project have no real legacy. However, this model fits our capacity and allows us to focus resource on allowing youth voice or content during the project. It also adds a key life skill, as collaboration, working with other teams is something you would be doing if you're working in the sector anyway. Always adapting, obviously pandemic, reduction in budgets. It's been a journey and a process. We've always had bigger ambitions, but that takes us time. Sometimes it can be a challenge with other teams not understanding how long this type of work can take. So they see young people doing tours, and then a year later they're like, can we have the same young people coming back and doing the tours? And you're like, no, they've left to go to university or they've got a job now. And it takes time to build the programme, and then, as I said, your young people will continually graduate, age out of it. So you just need to build that flexibility in and continue to recruit, which is why we always invite young people who are interested in the programme to our events, because that's been a nice recruitment tool. And then some things that we've learned, be realistic. I think it's okay to start small and to grow, but it's also fine to maintain as well. If we can just go to the next slide, please. Where possible, align to organisational strategies. By linking this project to Unlocking Paintings, it's really helped us to keep growing over the last 6 years. As I said, think creatively about youth voice. Even in the most restricted environments, we found that we can give the young people a voice and they've felt empowered. And to think about what that means for the organisation, because it'll be in different contexts, but also what does that mean for the young people as well, to have a conversation. I think it's been really important for us to have real and visible outcomes that are on display at the gallery, and it's okay if they're small. We've learned that what might seem small to us, like one text label, doesn't necessarily seem that small to a young person. We found that having the structure has really worked well for us, for the young people to like guidance, but it also means that we can adapt and change, like moving things online or moving things to a different location, because the structure's there to kind of give guidance to the young people. But it's also been important for programme development and also future plans. And it's also a way that we can listen and respond to the young people as well. So our last slide is just our email addresses. So if you've got any other questions for myself or Miles, do feel free to ask us. And thanks for having us.